Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the MDM Minute with Peter Schenk. Today, I want to talk about the machine and conditioning in society. Have you noticed more often than not when you're in a public place, a restaurant, a bar, a a train station, a bus station, everywhere you're noticing TVs popping up? And I'm not a conspiracy. Well, actually, I am a conspiracy theorist, but there's a few things that I never talk about publicly: religion, politics, and conspiracy. And that's not what this video is about. And I'll continue that just because they create and put you into a very, very different light. And I avoid those subjects when I do MDM minutes, but conditioning is really important. And I always talk about a child being magical. When they're born, they see the world as magic, and then as they progress through life, they become conditioning. They become conditioned to think a certain way. And there's a great book out there called Forbidden Archaeology. It's a very, very thick book, but it's a great book, and it talks about you know this overwhelming amount of archaeology. I can't say that word. Archaeology. A lot of really old structures and civilizations that have existed tens of thousands of years before we have. And the history of the world today is just not true. Um, and humans have innately five senses that we use to navigate, but we actually have 250, and some of those may wake up over the course of your life and present you with amazing abilities. I, for one, have the gift of sight. I can see energy and everything, and that conditioning is brought on to keep us thinking at a sixth grade level. It's meant to not allow us to think outside the box, and we're constantly bombarded. I am a proponent of technology. Everything I do is technological, and technology can be used to help humanity. It can also be used to enslave it. And my point is, when you see these TVs everywhere, they're constantly bombarding you with frequencies. you know I love watching movies. I watch movies all the time. Netflix, Vudu, Hulu, YouTube. I just love watching movies, but I don't read the news. I don't watch TV. I don't subscribe to any type of cable service, only internet. And I, more so than not, are staying off electronic devices more and more, because this conditioning, this frequency that the machine, and I'm just going to leave it as the machine, wants to keep us in a place, and I'm not going to call it enslavement, although it is kind of like that, mentally, where we cannot evolve as a species. Now, in some facets, it's working, because I talk about the sleeping dead, the sleeping masses, the zombies, the cartoon characters, and another half dozen names that I use for people that are sleeping. And all of these TVs that you see in these public places are meant to bombard us with frequencies that keep our minds quiet, keep them still, keep them quiet, so you can't evolve your consciousness to these higher octaves. And it's just absolutely amazing. Every time I go out, I see more and more of these TVs in places where you never saw them 5, even 3 years ago. They're just popping up everywhere. So when you're if you're conscious about what I'm telling you, and you're in an area where you can't avoid these TVs, just look at the TV and just put a barrier up, an energetic barrier. It's so easy. You just imagine an energetic barrier, and the frequencies that are coming out of these devices that are meant to keep you from evolving as a species will just stop. And it's just a great way to protect yourself. But check it out, folks. You see these things popping up everywhere. It's crazy, man. It's absolutely crazy, and it's just happening more and more. So the energetic barrier, and don't make any mistake, folks. The human species, the evolution of the human species is now underway and has been for the better part of 30 years. And there's a war, a silent war that's being fought between this evolving consciousness, which really frees you so much from the dogma that's happening around us. So just be aware of it, put up the barrier, and keep your mind open and receptive to those bits of information that flow to you, because we're all headed for the higher octaves in some capacity, and that's where we were meant to be all along. Thank you.